for visiting my channel, Thinking Like a Virtuous Woman, where I inspire women to think like the woman in Proverbs 31, spiritually, financially, and also relationally. So I did a video in the past about multiple streams of income and why I think it's so important, just as a person in general, and especially as a single mother. Having multiple streams of income allow you to have something to fall back on in case one of your streams of income gets cut off. Now, on that video, someone had made a comment and asked me to do a video about my experience as a CPR first aid instructor. Now, if you are thinking about becoming a first aid and CPR instructor, I think it's a very great side hustle. It's something that I do on my own. I do have a small CPR first aid company that I own, and it's a very easy job. I love teaching people. I'm a teacher by nature, so for me, I love it. And you know, if this is something that you're thinking about, you definitely want to listen to this video. First of all, becoming a CPR first aid instructor, in my opinion, is very easy. It started off as a all-day training. You just learn basically how to be an instructor. You learn like different tips, the legal parts of it and things like that. And then after that initial class, you have to, and of course during that class you have to, you know, do your skills. They want to make sure that you know how to do CPR and first aid, right? So after that initial class, I had to go back and watch and assist with 2 classes, and then I had to be monitored teaching a class. After being monitored teaching a class, that was pretty much it. I was certified, so it was very easy. I was certified within a couple weeks. I took that class, the initial class. I came back that week, watched the 2 classes, and the following week I was monitored. So it was very easy. As far as money, it can be a little expensive with getting certified. And so before I found the site that I eventually aligned with, I found classes that were as much as like $600. I think the cheapest class I had found was maybe like $500, and then I was able to find a center that did certification for $400. So I mean, the class itself could be anywhere from $400 to $600, maybe even more depending on where you live. And then once you take the class and get certified, then you have to think about your mannequin. I invested in a mannequin set, which was about $600. I had 2 adults, a child, and 2 babies in that set. And then I bought like a trainer, AED, and EpiPen, and things like that for first aid. And the training center I was allowed with, they did allow you to rent, but I knew that I would be doing a lot of classes. So I knew that it made more sense for me to go ahead and invest in buying my own set as opposed to renting, because if I was renting, by the time I've rented the mannequins a few times, I would have paid for the set anyway. So that's something to think about. But I can say that the return is well worth it, because I'm in the medical field. I had so many people around me who needed certification, so I made my money back right away. I think I invested altogether maybe about $1,000, and I made that right back. I made it back so quickly because I was working as a medical assistant in a cardiology office, and it was 10 doctors, and of course we had a bunch of different employees. So I was actually hired to do their CPR training. So I was getting paid outside of working for them. I would clock out and I would do the certification for everybody who needed recertification. So I was making money that way. And then I had a lot of friends who were in the medical field, so I was doing their certification, so I made the money right back. So before doing it, I would suggest to make sure that you're actually going to have clients. If you already in the medical field, that is perfect, because you're always going to have clients, because your co-workers are going to need recertifications every 2 years. Another good thing is that you can actually charge whatever you want. Like once you take your classes, you get your mannequins, you get your supplies and all that, you can charge whatever you want. So I was able to get that contract with the office I was working in, because I only charged $50 a person, compared to the company they were using. The company they use charged $80 a person, and some companies even charge up to $100 a person. So my prices were very competitive. So when they learned that I was now a CPR instructor, they said, no, we're going to use her, and we're only paying $50 a person. And so and then just be mindful of some of the fees you will have to pay depending on your training center. You'll have to buy a CPR card. So that's a part of your investment, is actually paying for the cards, and that's actually going to help you determine the price that you charge, because you have to think about the fact that you do have to buy each CPR card. Another thing you want to do is research to see which organization you want to get aligned with. You know, there's American Red Cross, and then there's AHA, American Heart Association. Those are the main two, and I am certified through AHA. The reason why I chose to get certified through AHA, because that's the organization that I had been certified with. I had taken Red Cross before, but I was so familiar with AHA, I decided to get certified with them. I also later on became certified with National Safety Council, but with National Safety Council, they are not as widely accepted as American Heart and American Red Cross. So you definitely want to make sure you get yourself aligned with an organization that's going to be accepted everywhere. Now, it may depend on where you live. I live in DC, so I know here everywhere is looking for American Heart or American Red Cross. And I was certified through National Safety Council, which some places accept, but again, you just want to make sure and do your research. And you also want to be aware of the fact that if you align with AHA, there's two different types of certification. You have BLS, which is basic life support, and that's for healthcare providers, so doctors, nurses, medical assistants, CNAs, they will get the BLS. And then if you're doing like a lay person, somebody that just want to learn how to do CPR, or maybe you're doing security guards or daycare workers, or even home health aides. So if you do decide to go with AHA, you want to make sure that you get certified in a discipline that you want to be able to teach. If you want to be able to teach everybody, I would definitely get certified as BLS and Heart Saver. And then the next thing you want to think about is advertising. So let's just say you go ahead through with it, you take the classes, you get certified, you got your supplies, you're now a CPR first aid instructor. You want to think about advertising your business. So I made business cards, I created flyers, I used canva.com to create flyers, and I just started hanging those flyers up in different places. So I worked in a building where there's hundreds of doctor's offices. So in the cafe downstairs, they allowed me to put some flyers up. I left some business cards there. So I was always getting calls from people who needed a recertification. I even had some offices that had me come in and do their entire office. So it worked out for me working in a building. Like sometimes I got too much business and I just had to turn people away, and I had to refer them to other instructors that I knew. And so you definitely want to figure out some type of marketing plan. I even would go around to different daycares and doctor's offices and just hand out I created a business proposal for my business, and I just would go around passing those out. And so you want to just make sure that you're marketing Facebook, Instagram, your friends and family. If you're in the medical field, that right there, that word of mouth, the people you work with is where you want to get most of your business. So if you're in the medical field, you actually have an advantage. The last thing that I want to share with you is not mandatory, but it is suggested. You want to look into possibly getting some insurance. Like with any business, you want to cover yourself. So there's a medical liability insurance that I use. It's called Locked In, and they are so reasonable. I mean, they range anywhere from like $30 to $40 a year to maybe up into $100 a year. Like, you can't beat that. And the thing is, somebody can say that you sexually harassed them. Somebody could sue you for malpractice. Let's just say somebody says, they went out and they tried to save a victim and the victim died. They can come and sue you and say, well, I took her class or I took his class and the person died. They taught me wrong. So if you have that personal liability insurance, then that will have you covered. And like I said, it's very, very reasonable. It's $30 to $40 a year, or I think the coverage that I had was $50 a year. You can't really beat that to cover yourself. So I'll leave the link to that website in the description box so you can go ahead and get a free quote with them. So I hope that this video was helpful to you. I hope that if you have been trying to decide, I hope that this video helped you make your decision about whether you want to become a CPR first aid instructor. Like I said, I love it. I love teaching people, and if you're looking for a side hustle, you're looking for a way to make money on the side. I have a friend who does this full time. She has different contracts with different doctor's offices and daycares and things like that, so she's always busy. So I definitely would encourage you, if it's something you're thinking about and I didn't answer a question you might have, please feel free to leave it down in the comments, and I will respond back to you. As always, feel free to email me with any prayer requests, any questions, any suggestions on topics you might want me to cover. I'll leave my email down in the description box. And again, thank you for visiting my channel, Thinking Like a Virtuous Woman, where I inspire women to think like the woman in Proverbs 31, spiritually, financially, and relationally. Be blessed.